Parliament is demanding that contractors on the affordable housing project hire more workers from within Nairobi. We will have a full report on that story. And later on tonight, on the cabinet, we feature a unique political figure who has served as legislator, cabinet secretary, county government, and also the Speaker of Parliament. From wherever you're watching us, good evening and welcome to Prime Edition. I'm Mboya, top in this live broadcast.
Mimi mahali nimefikia sina uwezo wowote. Mahali niko mwisho.
Man kills his 2 children, takes on life as another one is lynched after hacking his lover to death.
We endorse Honorable Dr. Oburu Oginga as the new acting party leader.
Sliding into Raila's shoes, ODM Central Committee endorses Oburu Odinga as party leader. CBC Pioneer tests. 4 national CBC assessments kick off countrywide, targeting 3.4 million learners. Restoring the Mau forest. 5,000 tree seedlings planted as President Ruto launches restoration program of the 33,000 hectare Mau forest complex. Many thanks indeed for joining us. If you want to speak to us and let us know your thoughts on some of the stories that we are covering for you tonight, speak to us on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. Our sign language reporter tonight is Lensa Odingo. Now let's begin with our lead story tonight. Residents of Mai Mahio in Naivasha, that's in Nakuru County, are tonight struggling to come to terms with an incident where a father allegedly poisoned his 2 young children before taking his own life. Meanwhile, in Machakos County, it was double tragedy after a woman was hacked to death by her alleged lover, who was then lynched by angry residents. Our reporter Doreen Arange filed the following report that opens our coverage tonight.
A cloud of sorrow hangs over this homestead in Mai Mahio in Naivasha. Family members, friends and neighbors sit in disbelief, struggling to understand how a father could turn against his own children. The man, said to be in his late 20s, allegedly poisoned his 2 children aged 6 and 4 before taking his own life.
Na mashujaa aliweza kunipigia simu kuniambia baba yao ameenda na watoto na hajawarudisha. Nikamwambia kama ameenda kuripoti asikuwe na wasiwasi, pengine atawarudisha asubuhi yeye alale. Sasa ndio kuamkia akanipigia simu akaniambia ameenda kutafuta watoto kwenye baba yake alikuwa anaishi. Akapata watoto wake washapikiwa uji na wakaekewa dawa ya panya, watoto wakakufa. Na huyo mzee akajihang.
Mary Karuku, the mother's children, is grappling with painful reality.
Mimi mahali nimefikia sina uwezo wowote. Mahali niko mwisho. Ningeomba watu wema tu wakuje tu wanisaidie niweze kuzika watoto wangu, niweze kuwapumzisha.
Area leaders who visited the grieving family condemned the act, calling for dialogue in troubled homes.
Tunawaomba iendapo mtu amepata stress ya aina fulani, tafadhali ongea na mmoja ama mwingine ndio tuweze kutatua hizi shida ambazo ziko za kifamilia.
Meanwhile, in Machakos County, a woman was hacked to death by her alleged lover as she boarded a motorbike. According to Zio Kasingi, the Machakos County Criminal Investigation Officer, the suspect attacked the woman with a panga. Boda operators in the area say such incidents are rare.
Ni jambo la kusikitisha kwa sababu si kawaida hapa kwetu mambo kama haya, mauaji kama haya. Na uzuri tumeshukuru askari ambao tumewaita. Ombi langu ni kwa wanaume na walio kwenye ndoa na marafiki wanaoozana, kama umeona ndoa ama urafiki uwezi, tafadhalini mwache mwenzako aende atafute maisha.
Doreen Arange for Prime Edition.
Such heartbreaking scenes there, very devastating, and of course our hearts goes out to those families that have been affected. Let's now move on to another item now. The government has officially started work on restoring 33,000 hectares of the Mau forest in an effort to protect the environment and create sustainable livelihoods for local communities. President William Ruto announced the launch of the restoration program, which aims at rehabilitating 3,000 hectares of the forest every year to fully restore the entire 33,000 hectares within a decade. He stressed that the project is a collective effort involving not just government, but also the local communities and the private sector as well. Mariambo puts that story in perspective.
At the event, more than 5,000 tree seedlings were planted, marking the first step in the long-term plan to restore Mau Forest. The project, the president said, isn't just about environmental restoration, it's also about improving the lives of local people.
Hapa ndio mito karibu 12 inaanzia hapa Mau Forest. Na kwa sababu hiyo, katika ile mpango yetu ya kupanda miti Kenya, mpango ya kupanda miti bilioni 15. Kati ya sehemu ambazo tutaweka kipao mbele ni msitu wa Mau.
Alongside the tree planting, the government distributed pyrethrum splits, tea seedlings, milk coolers, beehives, and even set up a last-mile electricity connectivity project that will benefit over 3,500 households.
Every year, we are going to do 3,000 hectares so that in 10 years we will have restored 33,000 hectares of Mau forest so that we can continue to derive water resources, forest resources, and livelihoods for the residents of Nakuru County and for the people of Kenya in general.
A key challenge in previous restoration efforts has been the shortage of seedlings. To address this, the National Youth Service and Kenya Forest Service will jointly establish 300 nurseries and 17 mega nurseries across the country.
Every year, we are going to do 3,000 hectares so that in 10 years, we will have restored 33,000 hectares of Mau forest.
To protect the forest from illegal encroachment, a fence will be put up along its stretch in Narok. Mariambo reporting for Prime Edition.
That report brought to you by Mariambo. Of course, my colleague Muchuma Odim is away tonight. We hope she will join us soon. Now, let's move on to another item. 4 national assessments of learners pioneering the competency-based education, CBC, have commenced, involving over 3.4 million learners across the country. These are the Kenya Primary School Education Assessment, KBC, for grade 6, and the Kenya Junior School Education Assessment for grade 9 learners, alongside the Kenya Intermediate Level Education Assessment for learners with special needs and the Kenya Pre-Vocational Level Education Assessment for learners transitioning to vocational levels.
On Monday, Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Ogamba officiated the opening of the Kenya Junior School Education Assessments KJSEA, Kenya Primary School Education Assessment KPSEA, Kenya Intermediate Level Education Assessment KILEA, and Kenya Pre-Vocational Level Education Assessments KIPLEA at Letein Deputy County Commissioner's Office in Kericho County.
Today marks a major milestone in our national education calendar as we officially launch the 2025 National Examination and Assessments season. We have a total of 3,428,729 candidates who will sit for various national assessments and examinations, which is the highest number in the Kenya history.
This, as Basic Education Principal Secretary Julius Bitok assured candidates and parents of a smooth examination period.
I want to tell the nation that as a ministry, as a State Department, we have done our best to ensure that everything is ready. All the learners have been prepared, all the examinations have been prepared, They are ready, and this morning we are distributing them to different centers here.
As the national assessments got underway, one student in Mboya East Sub-County, Kirinyaga County, is writing the exam from the Kenyatta National Hospital.
One hardship case in Mboya East. The candidate is in Kenyatta Hospital, but the examination arrangements have already been done.
Meanwhile, security across all national examination centers in Narok Central has been enhanced.
Tuko na wanafunzi 5,391 ambao wako katika centers 136. Katika KGC tuko na wanafunzi 4,270 ambao wako katika centers 98. Kwa hivyo kwa jumla tuko na watahiniwa 12,010 na centers 160.
Elsewhere, stakeholders in Kakamega County have urged parents of grade 6 and 9 learners to provide a peaceful and supportive environment for their children.
We only have security that will be escorting the papers up to the schools and then returning the papers to the containers. We want to make the exam sessions very friendly.
In Bungoma County, over 3,000 grade 6 and 9 candidates are sitting for the 2025 assessments.
Wamejiandaa vyema na hata wameanza mtihani. Hatujakuwa na matatizo makubwa kwa kuanza, ila tu ni kwa sababu ni kitu kigeni, lazima ukikaramikie ama ukifanye kwa njia ya umakinifu.
At the same time, grade 10 teachers convened for a workshop organized by Kakamega County Government and the Center for Mathematics, Science and Technology Education in Africa semester.
Teachers are being taken through what it is that they need to do, particularly to understand the curriculum, the basic education curriculum framework, to be able to understand the assessment, and to be able also to appreciate what it is that they need to do as they receive the children in January.
Over 1.29 million learners in grade 6 will sit the Kenya Primary School Education Assessment KBC, while 1.13 million learners in grade 9 are writing the inaugural Kenya Junior School Education Assessment KGC that will determine placement in senior schools, previously known as high schools. Kasichana Masha, Prime Edition.
Let's now shift focus from the classroom to a pressing matter of public safety. 6 Iranian nationals linked to the 8.2 billion shillings methamphetamine drug haul intercepted in Mombasa County will know their fate Tuesday, October 28, 2025, whether the Shanzu Law Court will allow their detention. Detectives and the Director of Public Prosecution on Monday sought 14 days to complete investigations, citing language barrier as a hindrance to the interrogation. The prosecution also requested more time to verify the credentials of the court interpreter. The 6 were arrested last Friday following a joint multi-agency operation that led to the seizure of 769 packages of crystalline substances suspected to be methamphetamine weighing 1 ton. Here now is that report.
Monday, and the 6 Iranian nationals linked to the 8.2 billion shillings were arraigned before the Shanzu's Magistrate Court. Chief Magistrate Anthony Mwishigi was informed the suspect would not take plea due to language barrier, among other issues.
Special agent with NCIS, and he is contracted to work for NCIS. I have a copy of his contract documentation.
The court was told the suspects were apprehended at Kilindini Port following a joint multi-agency operation. This is after tracking a vessel found operating in the Indian Ocean, about 600 kilometers off the Kenyan coast, without proper identification.
Border with Iran, because Iran is also a part of Pakistan.
Prosecuting counsels Joseph Kimanthi and Anthony Musyoka requested for more time to verify the credentials of the court interpreter and to appoint an independent translator to ensure fair proceedings.
Please have all the documents that are required to be able to qualify you as a person who can be able to interpret for us. The essence is to ensure that they are following the proceedings, and that we are also understanding what it is that they are saying, so that there is no bias.
The Chief Magistrate ordered the suspect to remain in custody at the Port Police Station pending further directions on Tuesday, October 28, 2025.
We'll mention the matter tomorrow so that we can verify your documentation and for the court administrator to be able to source an Iranian Balochi interpreter. If we get one, well and good. If we are able to verify your documentation, then better.
Ruth Wamboi for Prime Edition.
As the drug crisis continues, the political landscape is also shifting. Orange Democratic Movement's top organ, Central Management Committee, has endorsed Oburu Oginga as the new party leader following the death of his brother Raila Odinga that occurred on the 15th of October in India. The meeting that Oburu chaired for the first time since his appointment also called on government to release political party funds owed in billions to the party. It also resolved to celebrate ODM at 20 in November as earlier planned. Here now is that report by Giverson Minor.
The Central Committee of the Orange Democratic Movement, consisting of top party officials, convened Monday in Nairobi to chart a path forward following the death of its leader Raila Odinga. The meeting that lasted for several hours resolved in unison to endorse Oburu Odinga to fill the shoes of the departed Raila Odinga as the new ODM party leader.
This is the Central Committee of the party, chaired by the party leader.
We endorse Honorable Dr. Oburu Oginga as the new acting party leader and urge the party rank and file to accord him all the necessary support and cooperation to enable him guide the party through this difficult time.
In a statement read by Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, the ODM top officials played down perceived internal wrangles, saying they are united.
I beseech the media to avoid the tendency for sensationalism and the incessant hunt for negative news within the party. ODM's biggest problem now will not be which faction is winning against which one, or whether indeed there exist factions within the party.
The ODM top figures rallied Raila supporters to remain united to secure his legacy of peace.
We may not always speak the same language, but we certainly know how to avoid the pitfalls of division that may happen on our path.
ODM also urging the national government to release billions owed to them under the political party's fund to smoothly and independently run its affairs.
As the foremost Democrat in this country, Raila had fought tirelessly for political party funding as a safeguard against state interference, and it is only fair that his memory be sanctified by the expediting of pending issues for which he sought solution.
ODM is set to celebrate its 20th anniversary on 14th, 15th and 16th of November in Mombasa, followed by nationwide memorial activities aimed at cementing unity and solidarity within the party. Giverson Minor, Prime Edition.
Of course, we'll be tracking those events for you on the 14th, 15th and 16th. Now, Postal Corporation of Kenya workers in several counties on Monday downed their tools over unpaid dues and alleged failure by the corporation to remit statutory deductions, among other grievances. The workers, while calling out the management of the corporation, threatened not to get back to work until their issues are addressed. Here's that report.
The irate Postal Corporation of Kenya employees based in Kisii Town, Kisii County, took to the streets, questioning why their employer was making statutory deductions without remitting them to the relevant agencies.
All the SACCOs are not able to pay us. Medical schemes, I was told they're not getting the medical scheme services. Pension is not being remitted from 2015.
But how can he declare a profit yet we are not being paid? We've not been paid salary for 6 months and yet he's declaring profit. We want our salary. We know there is a problem with the management. We want the management to go. Management must go. Yes.
Similar calls were made in Nyeri County, where the Communication Workers Union said it will continue rallying members to paralyze operations at the Postal Corporation until their demands are met.
Sisi kama wafanyikazi tumeumia na tumejitolea, lakini hiyo kujitolea kwetu imetuumiza zaidi because na hii uchumi, hali ya uchumi vile ni kali, hii harsh economic times, kukaa miezi 6 bila mshahara sio kazi rahisi.
In Machakos County, aggrieved workers converged outside Huduma Center, saying they will not be bullied into going back to their workstations.
Jambo hili ni kinyume na sheria. It is a criminal offense. To masquerade and collect money on behalf of the government or institutions that have been created using Parliament Acts, and yet you are not remitting those monies.
And in Eldoret City, Uasin Gishu County, employees complained of not being able to afford basic needs such as rent, food and school fees.
Wakuu wa posta wanataka sisi tufanye nini? Tuje kazini. Surely, kwa kibinadamu, is it possible?
Kwa wale wangali wako kazini, ninaona kuwa huko mbele ni mbaya sana, kwa vile ukiretire there is nowhere you will go because hakuna pension, no remittance, na hata sisi, hata wengine wenye wangali wako kazini kama walichukua loan, hizo loans asijakuwa remitted.
Postal Corporation of Kenya workers say they will remain on strike and have pledged to pile up the pressure until their grievances are addressed. Yusuf Farr reporting for Prime Edition.
Difficult days there for workers at the Postal Corporation. Well, that's the story that brings us to our first break at exactly well, I'll tell you the time when we come back. But don't go away. We'll be back shortly. Technology on my registers failed. But not worry, we'll be back. And we'll also be looking at the day's business, and later on, we'll take a look at the day's sports. Don't go away. Stay with us.
Menstruation is a natural and biological process. Yet for so many women around the world, it is still covered in silence, shame and stigma.
Our main educators are mothers. So once we start removing the stigma right from a young age, the girls, and they learn that this is normal, they will continue that with their children, their children's children, and the stigma will disappear.
Traditionally, cycle had a meaning. It had a very spiritual meaning. Yes. It had a physical meaning. It was a start of a new thing, a new moon, a new cycle. So it was so informative.
So it is not just about whether you're in pain. It is also about how am I mentally when I'm there and having my cycle.
It's usually how you're supposed to cover it instead how you're supposed to celebrate it. Me kwanza, I'm encouraging mothers, when your girl gets menstrual, go get an ice cream, celebrate it like it's a trophy. It's powerful women.
Nilikuwa nimekosa kosa gani ndio anishike?
Lakini sasa unajua alikonya mambo ya ulevi.
Sikuwa mlevi.
Daddy ilikuwa umeenda wapi?
Tulikuwa na mazungumzo na bwana chief.
Ulamwa minyaru. Ndakure fintu funda mangondo kosa kono mino ni ndinyu mwana wevu. Santa fanya ajaki. Huyu ni omba.
Iki kimzee kinatafuta nini hapa?
Leo tutaonana mundu kwa mundu. We! Sitapoteza muda wangu na nguvu kwa mtu mjinga kama wewe.
Umepoteza fahamu. Nitakukumbusha kila kitu nikikuja.
Nenda ukafanya kazi huko. Huyu kupungwani kila mahali mpungwani tu.
Welcome back to Prime Edition. It's 21 minutes past the top of the hour according to my phone. My watch's battery has actually needs a recharge. But let's move on. In the second part of this broadcast now, the National Assembly Housing and Urban Development Committee now wants contractors implementing the affordable housing projects to scale up the number of human workforce at sites. During an inspection of the various sites in Nairobi County, the committee observed that contractors had reduced manpower despite receiving timely payments from government. Members of Parliament, however, noting that the housing project was progressing well within the stipulated timelines. Here is that report.
Affordable housing projects in Mukuru and Shauri Moyo estates in Nairobi County. An inspection by the National Assembly Housing and Urban Planning Committee on Tuesday revealed gaps in implementation.
Which we are asking the ministry that if you knew or if you know that PPP takes so much time, please do not enter any other agreement with any investor on PPP unless the investor proves they have money.
Members of Parliament noting that the national government-led initiative is expected to, among others, address unemployment among youth.
Our ask as a committee, as the chairperson has said, is that we need more people on this site. The capacity of these sites does not warrant the number of people we are finding. So we would expect big sites to have thousands of people working on those sites, even for the program to be able to be implemented in shorter periods.
Legislators acknowledge significant progress in the construction. However, there is concerns about the capacity of public amenities that will be established in the new residential estates.
We had the question of the schools around, because you know the population that is going to be here is around 3,000 to 4,000 families. And where will the students, or I mean the pupils, be starting? And they told us they have expanded the Hishima Primary School, which is here. And we also wanted to know whether they have other plans on expanding it, because the population which is going to be here is going to be huge.
Ile shule walikuwa wametenga kuweka hapa ni watoto wachache, haipiti 1,000. Kwa hivyo tumeambia pia State Department wajaribu angaa wahakikishe kwamba ile shule itajengwa hapa iwe pia inatosha hiyo umati ya watu watakuwa hapa.
At the same time, the committee wants the State Department of Housing and Urban Development to provide details of the mode of contracts awarded to implementers of the affordable housing projects. Gishuki Washira, Prime Edition.
Now, Kenya and Uganda tourism stakeholders are banking on the Memorandum of Understanding signed between the two nations, extending the standard gauge railway line to spur economic growth in tourism sector in the region. Ambassador Paul Mukumbia, the Consul General, Consulate of the Republic of Uganda in Mombasa, says that this will facilitate affordable travel with a projected 5% growth in the sector every year. As Abdiaziz Hashim now reports, Tourism Cabinet Secretary Rebecca Miano is advocating for the regional tourism to revive and sustain the sector.
The beautiful shores of Malindi Sub-County, Kilifi County, played host to this year's 4th Uganda-Kenya Coast Tourism Conference and Exhibition.
Ugandans, I've also have that.
Kenya and Uganda are anticipating a tourism boost, riding on the Memorandum of Understanding extending the standard gauge railway line.
Connectivity between Uganda and Kenya using SGR. When this is implemented, it is going to be a game changer. As we work on reducing the cost of air travel, we are also working on the connectivity of the SGR between Uganda and Kenya. This really is also going to grow the numbers.
Regional tourism is being touted as one of the ways to revive the sector after it was severely affected by COVID-19.
We share a singular ambition. We aim to harness our partnership to reach our target of 1.4 million African arrivals. And we need to encourage tourism within the region.
We are also talking about regional tourism, which helps us, especially since COVID, to address the challenges related with international tourism. These international tourists, although we really like them and we want them to keep coming, but sometimes they are very unpredictable. Something small happens and many of them cancel their trips.
This conference should not end with dialogue alone. It must inspire action. Let us translate our discussions in tangible outcomes. that will bring about growth and improvement of livelihoods.
A speaker earlier mentioned that it's extremely important for us as our two countries to learn to cooperate and cooperate instead of competing.
Over 500 delegates are attending the conference being held under the theme Leveraging Youth, Innovation and Technology for Responsive and Inclusive Tourism. Abdiaziz Oshim for Prime Edition.
Now that SGR item leads us directly into our next story. In the courts, a Chief Magistrate's Court in Nairobi has allowed for the detention of a suspect who allegedly impersonated and forged official documents promising to offer jobs at the National Intelligence Services or NIS. The court was informed Alexander Mutuku Nzau obtained over 10 million shillings from the complainant Yusuf Mohammed Omar. Details in the Scales of Justice segment.
The investigating officer Lucas Juma in an affidavit told a Nairobi Chief Magistrate Lucas Onyina on Monday that Alexander Mutuku Nzau had obtained over 10 million shillings from Yusuf Mohammed Omar, promising him several jobs at the National Intelligence Service. He requested that Nzau be detained at Mudaiga police station for 7 days to prevent him from interfering with investigations which had not been completed. The magistrate granted his request and set the mention of the case on the 3rd of November 2025. Elsewhere, a senior lawyer, Lucy Nyamuita Momanyi, has lost her bid to call 2 additional witnesses in a defamation case she filed against former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko. Justice Janet Mulo dismissed the application filed back in 2014 in which she sued Sonko for allegedly defaming her during a breakfast talk show on a local TV station. The judge ruled that Momanyi had ample time to have filed the witnesses' statements earlier and served the defendant. She directed the case to proceed to hearing on March 19, 2026, when Sonko is expected to testify. And the High Court has certified as urgent an application by the Kenya's largest container depots in Mombasa. Justice Mohammed Kulo directed parties to file their written submissions and rejoinders within 7 days, with the hearing set for 8 December 2025. In the case, the depot owners Mahadi Energy Limited claims to have paid 530 million Kenya shillings of 630 million loan it had taken from Premier Bank Limited in 2017. The bank then auctioned the container depot in 2024 to recover the balance, but Mahadi disputed the sales in a Mombasa court, saying their property was worth more than the 100 million Kenya shillings owed.
Mahadi then went and moved court, filed an application dated the 18th of October 2024 in Mombasa, and Honorable Justice Olga Sewe issued conservatory orders, given that it was in the form of a petition, stopping the auctioneers and everyone who had claimed to have bought that property and all those properties that had initially allegedly been charged.
Premier Bank then filed a suit in Nairobi to reclaim the property.
The subject matter is a port in Mombasa. It's not a port in Nairobi. So territorial jurisdiction vests in Mombasa. We have brought this to the attention of the judge.
The court has maintained interim orders stopping completion of the auction pending determination of the dispute. Letua Debra for Prime Edition.
Let's now move to the counties, and residents of Meru town are alarmed by a worsening sewage crisis. The main sewer near Gakoromene market frequently leaks into Kathita River, posing serious health and environmental risks. Details of this and much more stories in our country news roundup as compiled by Sally Naisoi.
Residents of Meru town are up in arms over the sewer leakage that's posing a health crisis. They accuse the county government of turning a deaf ear to their numerous complaints.
Sasa itafanywa zite ikiwa na uchafu wa aina hii. Hiyo iwezekani. Mpaka kwanza town inakuwa clean. Na angalia hata uchafu vile umejawa kila mahali na ziwenji. Sasa zite itakuwa namna gani?
Hii siwenji inatokea hapa ndio ina flow. Inateremka kwa ile mito iko chini, inasikana na Kadhita, inasikana mito ingine inaenda mpaka Tharaka na kuendelea hivyo. Kwa hivyo wale watu wako chini wanakunywa siwenji kabisa. Hii si hata imetritiwa, hii ni kitu ukikunywa inagonjeka saa hii. Ukiangalia hata unaona imechoma nyasi. Unaona inachoma nyasi. Hii kitu ikiingia kwa mwili inakuwa affect.
Elsewhere, Public Service CS Geoffrey Ruku has urged African leaders to champion ethical governance and innovation to drive the continent's transformation. He was addressing an economic governance forum at the Kenya School of Government.
The public service plays a very important role in service delivery and citizens' welfare. It is through public institutions that the citizens access quality education, health care, infrastructure, social protection, and justice.
And Kenya has unveiled a new policy framework that links natural resource management, particularly water, to conflict prevention. Speaking at an international conference on water, peace and security, the Principal Secretary for Interior, Dr. Raymond Omolo, said the policy integrates conflict-sensitive natural resource management into national development plans to prevent disputes over scarce resources.
And we have a dedicated police unit, the Water Police Unit, that is meant to secure the existing water infrastructure. And as a country, we are now embarking on a very ambitious program where we'll be rolling out huge water infrastructure programs, big dams and small dams, to address the challenge on water scarcity, but also to help support the agriculture sector.
Of course, that story there, compiled by Sally Naisoi and voiced by Tilio Marco. Now, Amason Jeffa Kingi has been a prominent figure in Kenya's political landscape. A lawyer by training, Kingi has served as a member of parliament, he has served as a cabinet minister, he's also served as a county governor, and also served as a speaker of parliament. So tonight, we reflect on his career journey.
Amason Jeffa Kingi was born in 1974 in Kilifi. In 1980, he was enrolled at Magarini Primary School. He joined Alliance High School for his secondary education. He left Alliance in 1992 and was admitted to the University of Nairobi in 1994, graduating 4 years later with a law degree. Upon graduation, followed by a pupillage stint, Kingi went into private practice in Mombasa. While in Mombasa, he took a short contract as district coordinator for the Kilifi district, working for the Constitution of Kenya Reform Commission. This experience with the CKRC and his legal background exposed him to effective community mobilization and public awareness campaign strategies in the entire district. The 2007 polls served as Kingi's debut into politics, where he successfully contested the Magarini constituency seat in Kilifi district, now Kilifi County, on an ODM ticket. Kingi joined the cabinet in 2008 as a member of the Government of National Unity. He was 33-year-old when he plunged into politics. Soft-spoken and eloquent, the young advocate became the Minister for East African Community Affairs. His legal acuity, party loyalty, and great negotiating tactics proved to be solid political assets. In March 2009, he called for equity and regional ownership of the EAC through the decentralization of some of the community's organs, such as the East African Legislative Assembly and the East African Court of Justice. In August 2010, President Kibaki reshuffled the coalition cabinet. Kingi moved to the Ministry of Fisheries Development. With the dawn of a new constitution, Kingi's political star continued to shine as he vied for governor in the 2013 general election and won. He became Kilifi County's first governor and was subsequently re-elected in 2017. Ahead of the 2022 general election, he founded the Pamoja African Alliance Party, which later joined the United Democratic Alliance, Ford Kenya, the Amani National Congress, and other small parties to form the Kenya Kwanza Alliance, which was elected into government in the 2022 Kenya general election. In September 8, 2022, he was elected as the Senate Speaker. Jackie Wambiru, the Cabinet.
And in the business segment, Family Bank is set to officially list its shares on the Nairobi Stock Exchange next year after shareholders approved the plan. Family Bank CEO Nancy Njau says the lender will list its existing shares for trading without raising new capital, positioning the lender for the next phase of business growth. Benson Riomba reports.
Family Bank's shareholders have approved the bank's plan to list on the Nairobi Securities Exchange in what they termed as a milestone in the bank's long-term growth journey towards becoming a Tier 1 bank. The listing, expected in 2026, will be by way of introduction, where the lender will list its existing shares, allowing current shareholders to trade their shares freely on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, unlocking liquidity and long-term value. Family Bank will be the 15th company to list by way of introduction since 2006. The lender's chairperson, Lazarus Mwema, says the bank is keen on building value. The lender will be the 12th bank to be listed at the Nairobi Security Exchange, and the latest since Bank of Kigali listed in 2020. In a statement, Family Bank CEO Nancy Njau says listing will not only enhance transparency and governance, but also position us for the next phase of our business growth as we continue to deliver value and build confidence among our customers and shareholders. End of quote. With shareholder approval secured, the bank will now move to obtain the necessary regulatory approvals from the Central Bank of Kenya and the Capital Markets Authority before the end of the year to advance its listing plans. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Kenya is modernizing ports to enhance trade transport. Principal Secretary Mohamed Daga says ongoing construction of the Berth 19 at the Port of Mombasa, which is at 19% completion, aims at increasing container capacity at the facility. Wairimu Njenga reports.
The Port of Mombasa handled 32.86 million metric tons of cargo during the first 9 months of this year, up from 29.97 million tons during the same period last year, representing a 9.6% increase. The government says modernization of ports is being undertaken to increase container capacity. Transport Principal Secretary cites ongoing construction of 2 berths, comprising Berth 19B at the Port of Mombasa and another one at Dongo Kundu Special Economic Zone.
We are deepening, straightening and strengthening existing berths that are there. We also want to put up additional berths that have been mentioned, berth number 23 and number 24, to ensure that logistics is seamless, because if we don't do that, we will be congested in the port.
The PS says resolving non-tariff barriers and expanding transport infrastructure to neighboring landlocked countries are key to facilitating trade.
I was going through your brochure. I saw that you want to reduce the NTBs by 90%. We had a meeting in Tanzania the last 3 weeks to discuss particularly this matter, but we also want to make sure that our roads transportation system is upgraded and reflects to the modern infrastructure that is very much needed.
The 2-day summit is being held at a time when the global logistics landscape is rapidly embracing new technologies to boost efficiency.
With these impressive numbers, our resolve is to work closely with each stakeholder to further enhance our efficiency and productivity.
The world is embracing artificial intelligence, automation, data-driven systems, and digital trade platforms, redefining how goods move, how ports operate, and how supply chains function.
We all know the challenges, but we also know the potential that lies ahead if we work as one. Because our strength as a sector lies not in competition, but in collaboration.
The Kenya Ports Authority is upgrading its terminal operating system to onboard new features such as automated gate systems, equipment positioning systems, and barcoding systems.
Kenya is set to benefit from new agricultural investments meant to bridge the country's staggering deficit of 5 billion eggs, every year. The Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Novul Blooms Limited are partnering with a South African company to produce eggs for the local market. Novul Blooms Limited Director Ellen Mudhama says that there is an opportunity for investors to substitute imports, to also create jobs, and to introduce modern poultry production technologies in Kenya.
We are looking at some policies whereby the government we need to, like taxes of food production, poultry production. The taxes need to be lowered. And that is a way of bringing the food down, because you find that our neighbors, Uganda, people are going to Uganda to get this poultry feed because the production there is low in terms of the energy consumption.
Right now, we've already seen a gap when it comes to eggs. We have a deficit as a country of 5 billion eggs. That is already a space that companies like Truth Black Agri House can be able to pursue. We have livestock fattening centers. We want to also increase our feed production. We import heavily on soya and yellow maize. So those are also opportunities.
Beyond capital, we're willing to assist with consultation and implementation on the gaps, once again, that's in the sector. We are willing to bring in some of our emerging and commercial farmers to assist existing farmers, whether it be on a commercial scale or a rural scale. We're also willing to assist with your master plan, whether it exists or not.
Ellen Mudhama, the director of Nouvelle Blooms, talking to us about the egg industry, including other stakeholders. Let's now move on. The Rift Valley National Polytechnic has rolled out a 1.3 billion shillings geothermal power project with support from the African Union. The project is being implemented in 2 phases, as Ndutamo Kami now narrates.
Kenya currently ranks 7th globally and first in Africa in geothermal generation, producing 950 megawatts. To fully tap into the geothermal potential, the Rift Valley National Polytechnic has initiated a project seeking to increase electricity generation from geothermal sources.
Therefore, when we go to drill geothermal for direct use, we will be able to sell to companies to utilize the geothermal power directly. And that will be done through what we normally call industrial park.
The first phase, costing 182 million shillings, will focus on surface studies under the Geothermal Risk Mitigation Facility, with the African Union financing 80% of the total cost. The second phase, valued at 1.2 billion shillings, will harness geothermal resources to power industries at an adjacent industrial park, offering manufacturers low-cost steam energy for production.
Leasing to the industries is earning for the college. Then we sell the geothermal power to them and we earn as a college. So it will be an IGA where the college will be earning approximately 200 million a year.
The project integrates training for students through a dual technical and vocational education training model that combines classroom learning with real-world geothermal practice.
We will be able to link our trainees into the industry, and we train so that we are able to train our students on utilization of the direct utilization of geothermal power.
Ndutamo Kami for Prime Edition.
The United States of America and China have agreed on a framework of a potential trade deal that will be discussed when their respective leaders meet later on this week. The framework is expected to include a final deal on TikTok's U.S. operations and a deferral on China's tightened rare earth minerals controls. Here now the details of this and other stories making headlines across the globe.
Officials do not anticipate the 100% tariff on Chinese goods threatened by U.S. President Donald Trump coming into force, while China is expected to resume substantial soybean purchases from the U.S. Both nations are seeking to avoid further escalation in a trade war between the world's two largest economies. President Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping are due to hold talks on Thursday in South Korea. China processes around 90% of the world's rare earths, which go into everything from solar panels to smartphones, making supply of them to U.S. manufacturers a key bargaining chip. Elsewhere, credit rating agency Moody's downgraded France's outlook to negative from stable, while maintaining its sovereign credit rating at AA3, citing increased risks from the fragmentation of the political landscape. Moody's says the political instability risks hampering the French government's ability to address key policy challenges such as elevated fiscal deficit, rising debt burden, and durable increase in borrowing costs. Earlier this month, a rating agency S&P Global downgraded France's sovereign credit rating from AA- to A+, citing uncertainty on the country's finances remains elevated, while in September, rating agency Fitch also downgraded France's long-term sovereign credit rating from AA- to A+. Finally, AI technologies have facilitated the transformation of South Africa's 100-year-old railway system. Regarded as one of the most beautiful railway routes in South Africa, the line connecting Cape Town and its Simonstown winds tightly along oceanfront. With a history of over 100 years, the South Africa railway network previously faced multiple challenges like theft, intrusion, high maintenance costs, and delayed emergency response. AI-powered visual monitoring and response system that uses video recognition and sensor data can detect intrusions, foreign objects, and risks in real time.
Unaweza shangaa na tabasamu ya usoni, tunahakikisha
lugha tuseme za kwetu, tusiofie kejeli, talanta yasonga mbele, maendeleo yang'aa.
Serikali imefanikiwa ama imefua dafu kudhibiti visa vya ajali nchini?
Serikali imefanikiwa kuweka kamera za kidijitali ambazo zinaweza kupima kama gari inawenda kwa mwendo wa kasi.
Kwanza unajua kwamba mashinani hakuna hizo kamera za usalama unazosema.
Lea Premium Flour, nurturing the world. Available in a store near you.
And thank you for staying with us. It is time for the latest from the sports desk. I'm Bernard Okumu. Let's begin with big news where Nairobi United have etched their name into Kenyan football history after qualifying for the CAF Confederation Cup group stage on their very first attempt. Now the newcomers stand Tunisia's Etoile Sportive du Sahel, winning 7-6 in a tense penalty shootout following a 2-2 aggregate draw over the two legs. The team qualified for the continental competition after winning the 2025 Mozart Cup, a triumph that completed a remarkable season in which they also earned promotion to the SportPesa Premier League. Now, it was a campaign to remember for the rising side who secured a rare domestic double by clinching both the National Super League title and the Mozart Bet Cup. With Kenya Police FC bowing out of the CAF Champions League matches, Nairobi United now carry the nation's hopes as Kenya's own representatives on the continental stage this season. And well done to the Nai boys. They'll find out about their group stage opponents on the 3rd of November when the draw will be held in Johannesburg, South Africa. Elsewhere, Kenya's flag is set to fly high in Maxine Tukie, where some of the world's strongest visually impaired athletes are battling it out at the International Blind Sports Federation Powerlifting World Championships. Now, Team Kenya, who left last night for the tournament, are ready to make history on the global stage.
For Team Kenya, this is more than just a contest. It's a moment to prove that resilience knows no limits and that disability is not inability.
The team, me included, we are very much ready for these competitions and we promise the best.
Natarajia nikifika huko nitarudi Kenya na medals na nitafanya country yangu inifurahie.
The lifters say they are motivated to raise Kenya's profile on the international scene and are aiming for podium finishes that will make the nation proud.
Kwa hii game ya this time round, hakuna ati chao mimi ni kusababisha tu.
Hii timu ilianza kujitayarisha tangu mwanzo wa huu mwaka mpaka tukaandaa our national trials hapo July na tukachagua wachezaji wetu wazuri. Nina imani ya kwamba kulingana na matayarisho ambayo tumejitayarisha, tuko imara na tuko tayari kwa ushindi.
As the tournament continues in Messine and builds towards its grand conclusion on November 1st, all eyes will be on the Kenyan athletes, pushing boundaries, breaking barriers and showing the world what true strengths look like.
And now to soccer, where the national women's football team, Harambee Starlets, are just one step away from qualifying for the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations. Now the team carries a massive morale boost into their decisive clash against the Gambia after a thrilling 3-1 victory in the first leg at Nyayo National Stadium last Friday.
After 3-1 victory over the Gambia at the Nyayo National Stadium on Friday, the Harambee Starlets are in high spirits and now have their sights firmly set on sealing qualifications for the Continental Showpiece in Morocco next year. Head coach Beldin Odemba says the team is fired up not just by the win, but also by a major show of support from the head of state. President Ruto has pledged significant financial rewards for the team, a total of 10 million shillings following Friday's home win. He went further, promising 1 million each for each player if they win and qualify, and 500,000 Kenya shillings each player if they secure a draw in their return leg.
Mimi nasema hiyo game ya Tuesday tuko na psych na watu morale iko juu, na pia mimi naamini ya players tuko nao wanaenda kutupia 3 points na tunaenda qualify AFCON.
Starlets will play their reverse fixture against the Gambia on Tuesday at Stade Lat Dior in Thiès, Senegal, since the Gambia currently lacks a FIFA-approved stadium.
We concentrate 100%. To win the other game 3-1, but to lose concentration. So in a new game, still to 90 minutes, so to go very excited, but to go very focused.
With a 3-1 advantage from the first leg, a draw of any kind will be enough to send Starlets back to the Africa Cup of Nations for the first time in 7 years.
And across the borders now, where Jude Bellingham scored and assisted at the Santiago Bernabeu when two La Liga giants Real Madrid and Barcelona faced off in a fiery El Clasico that saw Real Madrid overcome Barcelona 2-1. Now, the English midfielder gifted Kylian Mbappe a through ball assist, which he needed to give Madrid a 22nd minute opener. Barcelona equalized later at the 38th minute through Fermin Lopez, but a 43rd minute tap-in from Bellingham restored Real Madrid's lead. Meanwhile, in other La Liga matches, Mallorca and Levante drew 1-1. Celta Vigo beat Osasuna 3-2, and Rayo Vallecano had a narrow 1-0 victory against Alaves. Well, and that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Bernard Okumu. Back to Tom.
Thank you very much, Bernardo Kumu, for that date. Of course, our gratitude also goes out to our sign language expert, Lensa Odingo, on behalf of the entire Prime Edition team in the back end. I want to thank you for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow at the same time. Join us then for the very latest in the world of news. Until then, my name is Mboya. Good night from Nairobi, Kenya. Bye-bye.